out of mind, out of sight. You know why? Because your option. I don't need to tell you my story. I just need to tell you what the lesson learned was.
Go and collect the man that wants you the way you want him.
Hey, I'm May and welcome to OP Said, and today's another submissions episode. Hey, and I'm Mel.
Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome to another episode.
Okay, submission 1. Hi guys. Firstly, I just want to say I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. The content is always on point for me, and I really appreciate how you all get straight to the heart of things.
Don't like to waste
That'll be
time.
us, straight shooters. It's true. Okay, now onto my dilemma. I've been with my partner for 4 years. We met in my 20s, and now in my 30s, we have 2 beautiful children, a toddler and a newborn. Our second baby arrived prematurely. My waters broke at just 6 months, and after several hospital admissions and a very difficult few weeks, I had an emergency C-section at 7.5 months due to an infection in my womb. It was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. To add to that, during my pregnancy with our first child, I lost my mother. I buried her while pregnant, and since then, I've had no close family support. The only person who's consistently shown up is my aunt, who flies in from abroad, despite now being a pensioner. My partner also doesn't have parents, but he has 4 sisters. And here's where the pain sets in. His sisters have never been involved. During both my pregnancies, not once did they check in, ask how I was doing, or offer any help. Every bit of support came from my aunt, a neighbour, or a friend. It hurts deeply, but I tried to move forward. When my waters broke recently, his sisters finally reached out, but I ignored the messages. I was hurt. I had expressed this pain to my partner multiple times, but he continued to push them into my space anyway. At one point, he even mentioned that one of his sisters had also had a premature baby and could help. I lost it. How could he validate them after their silence during some of the hardest moments of my life? Before we brought our baby home, I was clear with my partner, no visitors until after the original due date. He agreed. But the weekend we returned, I saw 2 of his sisters opening our gate. I rushed to the bedroom with the baby, furious. They didn't come inside, but my partner brushed it off like it was nothing. I asked him to message them and reinforce the boundary. He refused, so I did it myself. I was polite, but firm. One sister replied saying there had been a miscommunication and that they were only dropping off Easter eggs, something they'd never done before, even for our toddler. It felt like a convenient excuse rather than a genuine gesture. And now I'm left with lingering anger and resentment. I don't speak to his sisters and don't want to fake niceties, but I do want to remain civil for the sake of our children. I've told my partner he's welcome to take them to visit his family, but I won't be joining. Here's where I'm stuck. How do I let go of this bitterness? How do I stay civil without compromising my boundaries or invalidating my feelings? I want peace. I want to release this emotional weight. I've prayed, I've spoken with friends at church, but the heaviness remains. Thanks for reading, and thank you for the wisdom and clarity you bring through your podcast.
Oh, cute.
Oh, so lovely. Mother dearest.
Nah, skip me. Skip me for now. Let me gather my thoughts in it. Because every day, because I'm a mum, I must be the first to speak up.
Yes.
Absolutely not. You speak.
Mother Marie.
Do you know what? I don't have this sort of relationship. So it's really hard to be like, if this was me, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have married him. Like, I don't think I would have married someone that doesn't stick up for her. Like, at all. She's told him, oh, I don't want to be around your sisters. And then in your house, like, that's not something I'm comfortable with, because I need to know that in my home and in my relationship, my feelings are safe with that person. And if my emotions and feelings are not safe with you, how can I live with you? I know people keep talking about, I think that marriage is teamwork, and you don't go against your team or teammate, should I say. So you need to move as a team. If one person is saying, I don't want to talk to that person, I'm not saying don't talk to that person, but I'm saying don't bring that person around me. Respect that, please.
I agree with Marie. Communicate, have a conversation with any and everybody, all parties involved. And then also, I think you hold like a lot of resentment based on previous experiences, what's occurred. And I guess your expectations versus what then occurred. I think you need to work that out for yourself as well, because people and human beings can be disappointing. And so I think you need to work on not holding it in so much, and also just letting go and accepting situations for what they are. And I struggle with that. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I think, wow, like, you really did this, etc., etc. So I would be the first person to say, I get it. However, the healthy thing to do is actually work on it, because you can't have like, it's a lot to bear, like holding resentment in, and the person knows nothing about it. Like, you're literally here, like, internally angry and conflicted, etc., etc. Meanwhile, like, the other person is calm. They're sleeping soundly at night. They don't even know you have any grievances towards them. So I think whether it's therapy, whether it's another form of helping you, I guess, like, understanding and letting go of these emotions, I think you need to work on that as well. Just because if the conversations you have with your sisters-in-law and your husband don't necessarily go the way you want to, you need to be able to accept that. And currently you can't.
Yeah, my biggest recommendation is therapy. I think that you actually have a lot to work out in therapy. So I'm not sure that you grieved and processed the loss of your mum firstly. I think that might skew your thinking slightly without you knowing it, by the way. There's that. And then I also think you need to find a way to communicate to your husband that it was a betrayal. Like,
That's the words.
you had an agreement, everybody agreed, all parties, and then before your very eyes, he just said, nope, doesn't matter, that agreement, I'm just, nope, not going to communicate it, nope, not going to. And that must have been really shocking to you, especially like something so important to you. So I think you need to figure out a way to communicate in a way that he'll hear it, by the way, this betrayal, and then also communicate and let him know exactly in a way where he can understand it, understand your position, like the grievances that you have with his sisters. And so I think therapy would be a really, really good place for you to talk through all of that. So, you know, the loss of your mum, your husband not standing with you, and he's literally your only family right now. So that is, it's even bigger than even he realizes outside of the two kids that you have.
She has an aunt.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, you have your aunt. Like, it's a really small family that you currently have. If you take away his sisters, like that, it's a lot of pressure to also put on their shoulders to be that family. So I think you need to process, grief, the betrayal, and also figure out how to communicate with his sisters. Because at the moment, you're literally having a silent, one-sided battle with his sisters.
That's what I said.
Like, and the thing is, it's really easy to work yourself up when it is one-sided. When you're not communicating with the person, like, you could be like, yeah, you did this and you haven't been there, but suddenly you're here, Easter egg. What is the, like, it's really easy to work yourself up. Be like, you never did this before.
Yeah,
and
why
it's just
now?
it's really easy to just get more and more angry.
Yeah.
And
That
so,
might be even their peace offering, like by starting to introduce little
and
things.
just
You
be
don't
like,
know
this
until
is-
you know.
Yeah,
That's why it's important to have a conversation.
yeah.
But
But
also, there might be
after therapy, though, just because I think that there's a lot of emotions at play. She did just have a baby. I think there's a lot going on. So just like work with your therapist to get the tools and to get the words and the order and the structure and the process that you need to go through the emotions,
Yeah.
but also effectively communicate how you're feeling in a way that they'll receive it.
Yeah, and there may be things your husband may have been doing that you are unaware of. He might have, like, not to be the bad guy, but like, why are your sister-in-laws like that? Because I don't know if they're now being all comforting, helpful. Like, why after is it the third baby now?
Second.
After the second baby as opposed to the first? That's really strange. So yeah, there
he
might be things that you don't know he may have said, or certain things that have just gone
He
on.
might
So that's why
compartmentalize.
Yeah, but that's why it's good to communicate. And then also, do you know what? Recently, I'm not trying to give advice about everybody going to therapy, because not everybody has access to therapy. Not everybody can afford therapy. And that's why I say, so work it out in your own way. But I just think you need to process and understand like what it is that's triggering you, why you feel so resentful. And for some people, if they can't afford therapy, maybe just writing things down clearly.
Yeah.
So just take a method that works for you, but try and process and understand those feelings, because honestly, it's like holding resentment in for too long is never good for you. And especially when the other person doesn't even know. Because like you could be here thinking ill of this person, and meanwhile, all you need to do is have a conversation, and they're like, that I didn't know that. Like that I didn't know that's how you felt. I didn't know like you wanted me to be more involved with your kids. And so it's, try to work those things out. But yeah, definitely communicate.
Drama aside, we know that 96% of you guys that regularly watch our channel are not actually subscribed. Can you do us a massive favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps push our content out to people just like yourselves. Oh, and also make sure to follow us on TikTok, IG, and Facebook.
Okay, so the second submission. Hi, ladies. When I was 16, I started going to school with a boy. Let's call him Nick. At first, I didn't like him and gave him the cold shoulder, but he started to grow on me, especially because in our last years of school, he really had a character glow up. He became more and more authentic and sweet. We bonded over talks about life philosophies, being treated unfairly at school, and how to deal with crap authority figures. He had a crush on a, in brackets, not so close friend of mine back then. They hooked up a few times, but it was never serious. She wasn't that into him. That alone was reason enough for me not to even think about dating him. But me being a, in brackets, horny, virgin at the time, never having been in a relationship, and him being affectionate and flirty with me from time to time, in brackets, writing silly love letters, giving each other imaginary lover names, added up to me catching feelings. I had a little crush on him during our final school year. That ended fast when I found out that while we were getting emotionally, in brackets, not physically, close, and I was developing feelings, he was sleeping with that same friend behind my back. And when I said I was over it, I meant it. I felt sick just thinking about him. Not because of their thing. It wasn't about jealousy. It was about him not telling me, even though we were already close. Daily emotional connection, the flirting, the affection. While he was doing that with someone else and not being honest about it, that's what hurt. Anyway, after what I thought had just been a short, one-sided crush, he later tried to set me up with one of his best friends, Mo, and it worked. Since Nick had introduced us, the three of us started hanging out at first, but I began noticing that Nick wasn't loving how close Mo and I were getting. I didn't care. I was thriving in my first relationship and genuinely happy. Unfortunately, ended a year later and left me hurt and re-traumatized. But we were both young and didn't have the tools to communicate properly. I don't blame either of us. I've been working through it and my childhood trauma over the years with therapy and good books, still going. During that 1 year, Nick and I stayed in low contact. I'd sometimes think about him, but never once considered being with him while I was still with my partner. About a year after breaking up with Mo, Nick and I reconnected. After being neglected emotionally in my relationship, and honestly by myself, he felt like an ointment on a wound. He would read me poems so I could fall asleep, hand me a washed apple and remind me to get my vitamins, kiss me through the train window while standing on a platform saying goodbye like, how could I let you go after days like this? Silly me, raised on Disney movies and rom-coms, I got a little delusional about how much he liked me or wanted me. During those days, nothing physical happened, just hugging and holding hands through the night while sleeping beside each other. But even then, somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew he wasn't the man I needed. We had political differences. He's a privileged white man with money and resources who doesn't reflect much on his societal position. I'm an immigrant raised by a single mother who worked all the time. I've got empathy for injustice in all its forms. We had a fight about this, the way he communicated his views, enough for me to cut him off. I told him I'd reach out if or when I was ready to have him back in my life. He apologised. But one thing I struggled to get over is a man who doesn't take you seriously in a discussion simply because you're a woman, especially when you know he'd react differently if it were a guy saying the same thing. We didn't speak for a few months, then after half a year later, we saw each other again. I messaged him, happy birthday, and we met up. He bought gifts from his travels, in brackets, he often did that and I appreciated it, and apologised in person again. I forgave him, but we didn't revisit the fight. A few days later, we were on the phone, in brackets, those calls that will go on for 6 to 8 hours. It was late, that kind of emotionally charged night energy. You know, the kind of talk I told him about my past feelings about him, including the sexual ones, that I still had them, but I didn't really know what to do with them. To my surprise, he said he felt the same, that he had felt that way too. Still, we talked about how maybe it wasn't the right time. Mo was still his close friend, and Mo and I were in a good place, so the conversation ended on an open note. A few weeks later, I visited Nick again. This was the last time I saw him. It was as if that whole confession talk had never happened. He took me to a restaurant he thought I liked. I made him watch a Ghibli movie, in brackets, which he actually liked, and we lay next to each other. My legs were over his. I was low-key waiting for something to happen. While I was there, he told me that I smelled good and caught me looking at him intensely and didn't stop. Just smirked when I asked why he was looking at me like that. I didn't have the guts to bring up our feelings again. I thought he should. Mo was his best friend, not mine. Instead, he told me he was seeing someone, but like casually, like it was nothing serious. You know what pisses me off? When men make you feel special, but it's that gross, you're not like other girls kind of special. Like I was just a fish on a hook. And when he was ready, he'll pull me in. I was fed up with wondering, maybe he's just not that into you, even though he'd said he was. After that, I started caring less. He promised to visit, but cancelled again and again, or didn't even try. I got distant. I was disappointed. I thought, what a weak man for making empty promises and not caring about how that made me feel. Our last call was at 4 a.m, some hot summer night. It just felt off. I can't explain it, but my intuition was loud. This isn't what I want, need, or deserve. I didn't say anything. My door was already halfway closed. A few weeks later, a friend visited me. I told her the same story I've told you, and she said, "Why are you still entertaining this piece of shit?" Right. Thank God for honest friends, especially after, and I still cringe for him, he sent me a voice message after months of cancelling saying we could meet at a festival if he decided to go, like I could tag along. This was also during a time I had told him multiple times I wouldn't even be in the country. So yeah, I thought about my friend's question for about 2 minutes and then blocked him for good for about a year and a half. In that time, I thought about him often, angrily, sadly, thankfully, all of the emotions in cycles. In the end, in brackets 2025, I reached a point where I regretted how I ended it. Not that I left, but that I did it without saying a word. If someone had done that to me, I'd crumble. So I wrote him an email from the old school email we used to use. I told him I was thankful for his friendship and love, but that I didn't feel loved or appreciated at the end. I apologised for leaving the way I did and for how long it took to explain. I wished him all the best, no questions. I kept it short. I don't know if he ever got it, and kind of as I hoped, I think, he never responded. To this day, I think about him from time to time, but not often. I still try to understand how we went from sweet, shy confessions of love to him acting like such a worm. Sorry, not sorry. I'd love for you to discuss this as women I respect who have no personal connection to me or him. I've talked to friends who supported me through all of it, and obviously they hate the guy, but I want to really let this go. I want to stop thinking about him and our story. But I guess as long as I haven't met someone who matches even the potential of the man he could be when he wanted to, I still think about him. I'm 24, I've got more growing to do, and I want to move on. I want to open up to real, grounded love, and your perspectives would really mean a lot to me. With love, your dear fan.
Oh,
Aw,
Bubs.
thank you.
I'm not going to
Um,
lie. Nick was playing in your face so badly this whole time. And I need you to rise up. No, I'm being so serious. Do you know why? Because I know what it's like to really, really, really like someone and not have that come back. My first relationship was that. Liked him so much and he just did not feel the same way about me. And I could tell it through his actions. And I ended up being so traumatized after that relationship. I was like, I'm not dealing with men for a really, really long time because I needed to rise up. I'm telling you the same thing that I said to myself. I went celibate. I didn't date for a while, but when I did started dating, I started seeing men for what they really were. I started seeing that men, if they like you, they like you. But when they're not that into you, they will play in your face. So I need you to, like Melinda said, not everyone can afford therapy. And if that's the case for yourself, then fair enough. So, but I do think that you need to go through the motions of just dating for fun. You're 24. This guy should be, he's not thinking about you like you're thinking about him. I promise you that. And he's always going to have you be second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth choice. Don't let yourself be downgraded in this life. No, I don't like it.
This story was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It was, do you know what it was given? It was given like Nick was a co-star. Nick is not your co-star. This is, your story shouldn't even involve Nick as far as I'm concerned. It's only because you're this young that you've given him more of a role than he currently deserves. I think he just met you when you were young. And the thing is, I've always said that you're not really an adult until you're 30.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, you being 24, I think you've attached bigger feelings and bigger, like bigger moments to your interactions with Nick, when really and truly, fast forward 10 years, it'll be nothing. You'll realise it was a nothing relationship. You'll realise that just through familiarity, that's what kept you always going back. And that's it. I think, yeah, you're doing what you need to do. You're in therapy, you're working it through. I think you just need time. Like with time, with more experience with other men, you'll realise Nick's nothing. And you'll find one day, it's been so long since you even thought about Nick.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. So I just think it's just, you've attached bigger feelings to him just because you're younger and you're maybe inexperienced in comparison to somebody who is a bit older. That's literally it. I understand why you're giving him, like, I guess you're prioritizing him and you're making him a bigger character in your story, but that's purely down to your age. I really think that with time, he will become such a smaller character in your story. So yeah, go through the feels. Just go through the feels. It's completely okay. It's okay to talk about him, but there does have to come a day where you tell yourself, I'm not going to speak about him anymore. Like I'm not going to speak about him to my friends. And I promise you, you feel so much lighter after that.
Also, block him forever.
Yeah,
Don't give him the opportunity to come back ever again.
Yeah, revoke access. It's really important that we revoke access to those that we believe didn't treat us as well as we should have been treated.
Yeah, she did block him. She said that she blocked him for
but
a year and a half. And then
forever. We're saying forever though.
No, of course. And then she said she emailed him. I wish you hadn't emailed him.
Yeah.
So there's a saying, it goes something like, don't let your empathy turn you into a fool. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. Because you wouldn't do him the way he did you, you felt that you owed him a final word because in the past you just left it. And it's like, I've been there. I'll be honest, I've reached out when I thought, oh no, maybe I owe this person an explanation. When really and truly, if you actually look at Nick's history, his interactions with you, he hasn't given you that same courtesy. So therefore, you didn't actually owe him anything. But that's fine. We're all learning. This is our first time here, so we're all learning. And it's not an age thing for me. I just think it is what it is. Some people think and feel a lot more about a situation than it actually deserves. So you've already moved on. Continue moving on, because sadly, Nick, he, like Marie said, he is playing in your face, but also what he was doing was actually really keeping you around as an option. And that's not fair to you. You deserve to be number one, because how are you going to have late night 6 to 8 hour conversation and confessing you feel a certain type of way and him saying he feels the same way? And then the very next interaction, he then tells you he's seeing someone casually. Pardon?
It's kissing. It's
Pardon?
when she was on the train and he's kissing her through the other side. That's
no.
I did an eye
he's
roll
playing
at
you.
that point. I
No,
can't
it's
even-
too much.
But he's playing her. So he's literally keeping you around as and when he wants to
Absence,
take you
baby.
take you seriously. Like,
look at his actions, not what he says. And I think you're very aware of this. I honestly do. But I just think going forward from now, definitely block him forever. Don't give him the time of day. Anyone that really wants to be with you will be with you. Like, and you've got this history. Like, there is no reason why with this history you wouldn't be with that person right now if he wanted you. And clearly his actions tell you that he doesn't. So the best thing that you can do is move on and take your friends' opinions in. Like, they care about you and your friend's right. Like, why are you still talking about this piece of shit? Why are you still concerned about him? Why are you still thinking about it from time to time? Because I promise you one thing, he's probably not doing the same thing.
Yeah,
and if he is, it's probably because he's bored at that time and then he's thinking about you, or he's in the same city as you, then he's thinking about you, or he's at like a venue that you two went to, then he's thinking about you. He's given out of mind, out of sight. You know why? Because you're option. So you take your power back and never be option for him.
Also, I was going to say...
Cut all contact.
You know, all of these like closure letters and texts that everybody does, I tend to find it's a thing that women do.
All the time.
Men don't do that because men don't care. Like, I think you really care about him, but girl, everything that you just wrote in, he don't care about you like that. And I don't know if I'm saying this harshly or not, but men don't go about writing letters. Men don't... We need to take a leaf out of their book. Like, seriously, we need to stop sending these closure letters, these big old text. We had this crazy friend, by the way, every single time a relationship ended, she sent, I kid you not, like a 4-page letter to every
She's
guy.
doing an Aaliyah,
Like,
honestly.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
These long-ass text messages so that she could just let him know how she felt. Every single time, the guy would respond with like 1-word answers.
Okay.
Like, so you did all of that. You felt big and bad. You decided to really express your emotion, but they don't care. And I think 9 times out of 10, men don't care like that. They don't care for these long letters, these long messages that we're sending them.
But it's not about them.
It's not about them, but sometimes maybe factor that into whatever you're going to do before you decide to create that long letter.
So, third submission. I am a 26-year-old woman. 2.5 years ago, I was in a relationship, and in capital letters, I loved this man. He treated me so well. He was respectful, emotionally mature, kind, funny, and most of all, he was loyal. In brackets, trust me, I checked.
Okay.
But he was not financially strong. And for me, I come from a wealthy family. Both my parents have money and my older brothers do too. So I'm extremely spoiled. But I was content in the relationship and I didn't mind sharing all that I had. Whenever I would go to his place on the weekend, I would buy groceries, get him expensive shirts, shoes, watches. Basically, I spoiled him a lot. One day he woke up and decided to break up with me, saying I could do better than him and that he wasn't what I deserved financially. I begged him not to. I told him I was content. I emphasized how smart and hardworking he was, how he had a bright future and so much potential that things would get better. But even if they didn't, I was happy and had enough to share. And my family liked him, which was a plus. But anyway, he still broke up with me. This year, I got an Instagram DM from him, which I didn't reply to. I wasn't in the mood. But he blew up my page, liked every picture, every highlight, every story I posted, so I gave him attention. He asked me out to dinner, and I said okay, because before the failed relationship, we were friends. At the dinner, it was like we were still friends. We talked, we laughed, everything. What he didn't know is that I sort of kept up with his life and discovered that he did end up living up to those potential and made it to where he wanted to be financially. At dinner, he finally cut the small talk and told me he wanted a second chance. In brackets, yes, I was still single, but I didn't take it well. I told him the only reason he wanted me back was because he now had money and felt better about himself. I said, if money is what broke us, I don't want money to be what we build our relationship on. But now he's blowing me up, trying to get me to give him a second chance, to the point my friends are now also begging on his behalf. Should I give him a second chance?
No, never give anybody a second chance.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly don't know because sometimes you meet someone and it's not the right time, and so he actually went away and did the work, and then came back. So if you are comfortable with pursuing a second chance, I think go ahead, sis. He's worked on himself. You know what? I always think, don't go back if nothing's changed, but things have changed. So, but the only thing is, what would happen if he lost all of his money again? Or if he didn't have it? That's the only thing I would say that you need to discuss, because he can't pick and drop you as and when he has money, because I'm sorry, life just isn't like that. Life is hard for most people. I know you're in a privileged position. However, he could have a job today, not have it in 15 years, for like 2 years. What's he going to do then? Is he going to feel really insecure and end your marriage? Because that's what it would probably be. End your marriage then. Like, what? I think you need to discuss those scenarios, basically.
I'm really adamant that you don't give people a second chance, because the 2 times that I did, I lived to regret it. And I don't need to tell you my story. I just need to tell you what the lesson learned was.
So my opinion is, go get your man, girl.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because, do you know what? One thing I always know is that I don't know what it's like to be a man. That's what I know for a fact. And a lot of men that I have spoken to or taken in their content, if they are not secure and happy within themselves, they're not going to give you what you need in a relationship. And what he needed at that point is to, even if it wasn't to meet you financially where you were, is to feel like he can meet your needs and what he felt that you deserved. And you cannot, under any circumstance, match that by giving it to him. And I do believe that when you are in a relationship, a man should stand on his own 2 feet. And he wanted to do that. And do you know what? When he did finally get to where he wanted to, he came back and asked you, can we get back together? I think it's something that you guys need to talk through, like Melinda said, and you need to give him your boundaries, i.e., look, if a financial situation comes into play, I need to know that we're not going to break up because you don't have money. That's not how this is going to work, because now we're grown and I want you. For you, you're keeping tabs on him. Don't lie to yourself. You want that man, so go get him. Relationships are not linear. I don't believe in playing hard to get. For what? Go and collect the man that wants you the way you want him. That's my take.
It's true. Yeah.
That's my take. That's my tea. Go get that man and keep us abreast of the situation.
Okay, submission 4. Hey ladies, love your podcast.
Thank you.
Wanted to send in a bad date story because, you know, what the hell?
Come on now.
So I met this guy on a dating app. His pictures were nice, clean cut, well dressed, seemed funny from the messages. We finally decided to meet at a cozy little restaurant. I walked in and immediately realised he looked nothing like his pictures.
Oh, bum, bum.
Like maybe a throwback from 2012 before life hit him hard.
Sorry.
2012.
I'm trying to keep an open mind, so I sit down and try to have a conversation. He spends the first 20 minutes talking about his ex, not just mentioning her, comparing me to her, showing me photos, and even said, you kind of remind me of her when she was happier. At that point, I'm already checking the time, like, how soon is too soon to fake an emergency? But I decided to stick it out, thinking maybe the food would save the night. He goes ahead and orders a whole steak dinner, full sides, plus dessert for himself. I just got a drink and fries because I already knew this wasn't going anywhere. When the check comes, he looks at it, laughs and says, so how are we doing this? Want to split or you got it? Mind you, I had barely touched anything. I just smiled, paid my part and left. Blocked him before I even got to my car. Lesson learned. Never ignore the red flags in the chat just because you're trying to be polite. That was the last just give it a chance date I went on.
That's hilarious.
That's madness.
That's crazy, you know. How are we doing it? We're splitting it. Or you got this. What? He would have been okay with her paying the whole bill.
So no, not only that,
Whoa.
you pigged out.
Yeah, I know.
You pigged out as well.
No,
had a whole steak and dessert.
That is rude. But you know what? So I've only ever been on a dating app once, and I actually went on this date with this guy. This God, how many years ago? Probably like 3 years ago or so. Anyway, yeah, his picture was very different. And I remember like the first thing he said as soon as I sat down, because it was clear, he was like, oh yeah, it was COVID, I've been eating. I said, yeah, you fucking have. Like, this guy was huge. I was like, what? Like, the picture looked like it was 5 years old. So yeah, not as bad as yours, but about 5 years old. But I was like, what? Nah, this guy. But anyway, the drinks were flowing. It was a sunny day in London. I said, come on, we can chat. So we continue talking. But yeah, I'm with you. Never do that again, because when I got home, he then asked for a fucking nude. I said, yeah, blocked. So yeah, don't recommend it.
Do you know what? That's happened to me twice. I remember one time the picture looked like it was about 15 years before.
Madness.
I couldn't believe my eyes, but the food was free. This is when I was young and a brokey, so don't worry about that. And then another time was this guy. I remember I walked into... I got there first. I got to this bar first. He walked through the door. He was wearing this white shirt. I see him like pull it down over one belly. The picture didn't show one guy with a belly, you know. It showed him being like muscular and toned. And so he sits down and I'm like staring at him because I'm thinking, the gall, the gumption. So I'm thinking, this big man, liar, liar, you lie. Like I kept staring at him, just listening to him talk. And then at one point he said something and I said, did I mishear? He said, oh yeah, like, what do you think? Do I look like my pictures? I said, no. I thought, you must be insane to ask this question. I said, no. And he said, why? What do you think's different? I said, tone, bro. You ain't got no fucking tone. I said, where's the muscles? Where's the cut arms? He was so embarrassed. He was mortified. Like, he didn't think that I would say that. Anyway, I called my friend.
He had to met you.
Listen, yeah. I called my friend.
That's a crime.
My friend came to pick me up. I got in that car quickly and left. I said, the audacity to be delusional, sit here in front of me and act like you didn't think that I'll call you out on your lies.
Literally. And also, you're sitting here embarrassed. You should be embarrassed for yourself.
He was mortified. I could. He was calculated and he was trying to figure out how to still keep me there. And I just made my little call. I said, help me. My friend came. We left.
No, but I think that's so rude though. Like, if you no longer look like this current photo, change it. Own it and change it. Because it's like, you have me thinking I'm meeting this person when it's that person. So, yeah. And then don't sit here and go on like you haven't deceived me. That's exactly what you did, bro.
It was
That's exactly what you did.
I think my one was when I went on a date with you guys know this story. When I went on the date with this guy and I'm Andre and he was Andre. So he was like, oh yeah, we've got the same name. In the photos, he looked like he had a full head of hair. And this was my first time doing an interracial date. So I get to the place and the middle is missing. And I used to have this afro. He had the audacity to look at me and say, do you know what we have in common? I used to have locks and you've got an afro, so I understand black hair. I said, Jesus is Lord. How do you know the barman was laughing at me? He was laughing at me the whole time we were on this date, because this guy would go to the toilet, come back and be a little bit braver because he was a bit shy. And he goes, mate, he's taking drugs. Like, he was like getting more touchy-feely every time he came back. Then I said, oh, it's time to go. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Go home. Do you know what? I came out of the train station. This guy, hey, black girl. Lovely spending time with you, black girl.
Absolutely not.
We have the same name. Are you crazy?
Yeah, that's true. How can you forget her name?
How can you call me black girl? And Andre, get out of here.
Okay, so next submission. So I was at this woman's place for the first time. We'd been texting for a while, flirting heavy, and the energy in person was definitely there. Things were moving in that direction, and she goes, real cool and casual. You ever use coconut oil? Now, I've heard people talk about it, right? But I've never actually used it for sex stuff. Still, I play it smooth like, yeah, of course. That's a whole vibe. It was not a vibe I was ready for. She hands me a jar of solid coconut oil, fresh from the nightstand. I didn't know you were only supposed to use a little bit, so I scooped a big chunk out like I'm about to fry plantains. I try to rub it in my hands, but it's not melting fast enough. I'm over here massaging my own palms, looking like I'm trying to summon fire. Eventually, it starts to loosen up and I go in, except now it's too loose. I go to touch her and my hand slips right off her thigh like I'm missing a layer. She bursts out laughing. I'm trying to recover, but I end up sliding halfway down the bed, almost took the fitted sheet with me. I'm lying there oily and confused like, this is not what they meant by slick moves. She goes, yo, are you okay? And I just nod like, yeah, I'm good, while low-key thinking about how I need traction socks next time. We ended up cracking up together, both shiny as hell under the soft lighting. Didn't even finish what we started. We just laid there talking, laughing and wiping coconut oil off each other like two busted up gymnasts after a failed routine. Moral of the story? Coconut oil is great, but a little goes a long way. And maybe test your grip before getting too confident. Wow, sir. I like it.
Slipping and sliding.
Literally. At least now you know.
So my submission is through our Reddit. OP said, am I the arsehole for ending a years-long friendship because of maligned behaviour? So I have a male friend I met freshman year in high school, 2004. He told me a secret that I held until he was ready to share it with the world. We hung out often and became family over time. We have both evolved in our own ways as humans do and have been able to understand each other due to our similarities and shared memories and interests. Now to the reason I stopped talking to him. It was Valentine's Day and we were texting. He was telling me how he had behaved towards his husband because hubby cheated on him last year. This man is a spiritual leader in a community, yet his behaviour was absolutely unacceptable to me. On January 25th, while I was waiting for my mum to have a heart cath procedure, he revealed to me that for the past 13 years, he has had an affair partner unknown to his husband and me, his best friend. This was the final straw for me. I felt like I could no longer be associated with somebody who has such strong public persona but behaves outrageously at home regularly. I'm not perfect and surely have much more to learn about life, but it just doesn't align with anything I believe in, and I cannot take any more revelations. Over the years, there have been many shockers which also expose long-lived lies. I've been grieving my friend, wondering what has ever been genuine or honest. I hate that I've been placed in this position. I will always love him, never wish any ill or harm towards him. I just have to stand on what I believe. I can't control what others do, but I can control what association I have to and or with others. There have been many instances that ended in disappointment and shock, including but not limited to seeing my name signed as a witness to a marriage I didn't know was happening in a state that I didn't live in. I gave no prior permission or acknowledgement years later. I'm just done. I'm grateful for the experience I believed I had and excited for the journey ahead. I'm okay with being the bad guy. I'm just curious what you guys think.
I think you did the right thing. I think he's a liar.
They lie.
That's it. No, that's it. Like, he's literally a liar and you don't want to be friends with a liar. That's okay, sis. But I also think your values don't align. And that's absolutely fine. Those are grounds for no longer being close with anyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's absolutely fine.
Ta-ra to a bad friend.
And that's it from us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do send more submissions our way. And
We love them.
yeah, and let us know what type of stories you want to hear more of.
And just to let you know, we have a Reddit where you can send your dilemmas, but you can also comment on the ones that are already there. It's our little community that we're trying to build. So thanks for watching.
See ya.